It's true. And you're on Long Island, which
I'm
we should
still
be on
on
Long
Long
Island. It's called
Island.
Long Island Hustlers, but I'm an LA hustler for this month.
I love it. I love it. That's what you got to do. You got to be a hustler, not just on Long Island, that's for sure.
Everywhere you
You
go.
know.
Right? Yeah. Totally. But I love that
Yeah.
intro. That's the first time we ever got to run it. That's so cool.
That is the first time we saw that intro, and it shows the best of us, Julia.
Which is pretty crazy.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say about that. But I will start off with one of the things that I loved about doing that movie with you, Hybrid Hazards, was getting to play your mom, and not even just that, but watching the transformation with the special effects. Oh my God.
That was so cool.
You were such a good sport.
Oh, thanks. So were you. Are you kidding me? Like I remember, you were really, just hustling and not complaining. You were just doing it. And yeah, I think it wasn't easy with all those fangs and claws, but we made it work. That was a lot.
It was a lot. And I had done one episode that he still hasn't completed, but we started filming a year before that for the first episode for Were Creature Chronicles. And it was the first thing I had done in on film in a really long time, because as you know, I've been ballroom dancing. I acted, and then I took a detour because ballroom dancing kind of took off, and like your music, if your music takes off in this direction, you'll take a pivot, and you just see. So, but when I did that, the special effects that we had to do that day was so much more than you had a lot, but I had even more than you. I looked like I posted it because I'm like, I'm going to be brave. I can look ugly, this ugly, like really ugly. But then let's talk about those contacts. I was determined. I was like, because I wore contacts when I did Madonna. I wore blue. Yeah. Right. And you got them in no problem.
Well, I remember my eyes were like red for the rest of the day. Like it hurt, Yeah, it was pretty rough. But I remember, you couldn't. I don't know why they were so difficult.
Couldn't get them in. Yeah. I couldn't get him in. When I went to the first filming the year before, I had everybody was sticking. This was during COVID. Everyone was sticking their fingers in my eyes. I was like, at that point, I'm like, I don't care. I had makeup on. It all ran off. Little did I know I was going to be transformed into this ugly thing anyway. But we couldn't get him in. They would get him in. They pop out. So
yeah, I know, that's so difficult. Yeah, I remember they kept falling, and then once they fall on the floor, you're done. It's like you can't use it again, So
I think I picked mine up off the floor, rinsed them out, trying to get
screw it in the sink.
I had 3 different pairs. I didn't care anymore. I'm like, I'm doing this,
Yeah.
But that goes to our show title, Long Island Hustlers, and the determination.
Definitely.
You in LA. Tell us about what you're doing there.
Well, I just decided to come here and just, obviously I live in New York City and there's so much opportunity there, but my friends are staying here. So I was like, why don't I just come visit them and stay for about a month and check out all the major record labels, all the acting opportunities here. And, I was just telling you the other day, 2 days ago, my first day I got here, I decided to drive to every major record label that was open. And I proceeded to knock on the door, and, the security, each and every one would come out, and they were not mean about it. They were kind of like, I feel like they might get a lot of blonde girls, like, I'm the next big thing. I don't know. They were kind of pitying me, but, I remember one, Capitol Records is the one specifically. He was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to lose my job. I can't let you in here unless you're on the list. Usually people are on the list and we escort them in. And then I was like, okay, that's okay. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll see you soon. And he was like, what do you mean you'll see me soon? And I was like,
I love it.
you'll be escorting me in a couple weeks. And I walked
I
away.
love it.
And he was like, yeah, well, you get him, girl. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make that happen, but I will. You
I
know,
love it,
so,
but that is the attitude you have to have because there's so many people in this business, in the arts in general, that are naysayers, and so it's easy to take your ball and go home. Right, it's easy
I
to
know
just
it
say,
hurts,
okay,
the rejection. Yeah.
yeah. Lady Gaga got her first, she was doing music, right? And she said she got her first actual television role by calling Ryan Murphy.
Uh-huh. That's
Like they didn't call her. She called them, and she admitted that she goes, I called them, and that was my first time doing TV since she was like studying.
right. And she also used to call people when she was younger and pretend she didn't have a manager. So she would call people as this made up character of her
Ooh,
manager. And she'd be like, hi, I'm working with this really, really huge artist and we're interested in booking her here. Because people take you more seriously if you have a manager. So she
yeah,
was her own manager. It's brilliant.
love it.
But
I love
and
it.
it's something I feel like I've always been so inspired by you because you have shown me, obviously, you're so determined and you're so just, I feel like, confident in your abilities, as you should be. You have the talent to back it up. But what you do too that I think is so extraordinary is, you're talking about like ballroom dancing. The Madonna thing was insane. I feel like you just take on every aspect of the arts at such a high level. And I've always thought like I had to choose. Do I want to do music? Do I want to do acting? But I think you showed me that I don't have to choose. The more the better. You do
Yeah.
everything.
I think it kind of all goes, it's all intertwined because
Totally.
your character, whether you're acting or you're singing or you're dancing, you are, and I think that's what we love, becoming these different characters, these different personalities,
Definitely.
and taking on, like, it's just play all the time. And
It's
so
yeah.
that's the fun thing. And the funny thing about doing Madonna, and that when I did that, I didn't want to do it. No joke. I went to this modeling agency to book this dance tour thing. And I stayed at my boyfriend's house the night before, and I was wearing his clothes. And I walk in, and the agent's like, I had dark hair.
Uh-huh.
That was a wig. You can be Madonna. And I was like, I don't really want to be Madonna. They're like, we'll pay you more money. I'm like, okay, I'll do
Sure.
it. And I was like, okay, whatever you want, I'll go dye my hair. They gave me money. I went to go dye my hair. That didn't work. So we got the wig. But we performed for tens of thousands of people in football stadiums.
Yeah. Wow.
And I didn't even want to do it. Like, what was wrong with me?
I guess you were just like, yeah, like did not
I
expect.
wanted to be a modern dancer, which paid
Right.
no money and doesn't do anything. Like, modern dance is artistic, but it doesn't, like,
Right.
how many modern dance? I mean, how long are you going to modern dance? Like, it's just,
Yeah.
so
Totally.
anyway, that was just a funny thing about that. But that
That was
opened a lot
just
of
like,
doors because I did do it, because my college teachers were like, you got to go do that. Like, I said, I'm going to have to postpone my last semester. And they were like, yeah, that's why you're here. Go do that.
totally.
It was 2 months.
Definitely. Sorry, I'm
So
just out of the sun. There we go. But totally. I
you
think it
are
goes.
gaining. I mean, talk about. I want to hear. First of all, I have a question for you. Because you're so brave, and I feel like you are way braver than I could ever imagine. Are you by nature, because you're playing a part when you're performing, are you by nature an introvert or extrovert? I feel like I know the answer because I feel like I've seen you in class, but I don't
Yeah.
really know.
Like
Can you
just like
tell us?
Julia, like I feel like I'm like a little of both. Definitely, but I think I lean more on the extroverted side for sure. Like I don't have trouble being outgoing. I feel like I
Yeah,
crave social connection. I like to go out, I like to meet people, but every now and then I need time to recharge. I definitely need my
sure,
space. But I'd
sure.
say overall I'd be an extrovert. How about you? You would too, right?
Oh no. I'm
No?
actually like I could be a hermit. That's what's
Really?
so interesting.
Yeah. Oh no, what happened to your camera?
I
There you go.
I
Sorry, your
told you my
camera.
son's stuck at school and he keeps calling me. Well, we'll go get him. Don't worry, I will not leave him there. Um, I definitely am an introvert. I definitely like it was always really hard for me going to competitions and doing these big tours and things like that because networking is really important. It's even more important today. I feel like it's even more important today. Like without networking and making those connections, um, you're you're missing a big piece of what's going to get you to the next level. And it was always
Totally.
very hard for me. They always said, "Oh, you have to go to after parties and you have to go to events and you have to go to this stuff." So now I don't believe that you should allow any. I feel like that's a weakness, my weakness, and I do not feel like you should allow a weakness to kind of handicap you. So
Mhm.
I forced myself into doing that kind of thing. But
And
that's
that's
why
great.
I look at you and I admire you because you go after what you want and you're not like allowing any kind of rejection to stop you.
Yeah,
Rejection would always like I would get not anymore. I'm totally fine, but I used to get like totally wounded. Like I would be so like I went on a Madonna audition for a Madonna tour, and she was there. And like you
really.
probably would have walked up, and you would have. I just got back from the tour. I had the pictures in my portfolio. You would have walked up, and you would have been like, "Look, I just played you," and you know, like whether she loved it or hated it. But me, I'm like,
I
I'm
I
hiding.
understand that. Like what you're describing, believe it or not, though I get into those spaces of like like I'm like, I don't want to like come off rude. Is it weird for me to walk up to this
Yeah,
person? Like, and something I do a lot, like I feel like I am extroverted in social situations, but honestly, sometimes, yeah, I don't feel like auditioning or promoting myself because to be completely vulnerable and honest on here, I'm not the most confident person, like at all, like in any part about me. I've always struggled with that, and rejection definitely hits me hard from all angles. So it's something I do, and I don't know if this is necessarily a healthy tip for people, but it helps me, is that when it comes to those kinds of situations, almost disconnect from myself and I take it on as another character. Like
mm.
I'm going to play the confident girl. I'm going to play the girl who believes in herself. I'm going to play the girl in the movie who's just about to get famous right now, if that makes any
Of
sense.
course, that's brilliant. I love that. And that goes to something that you said, because this is our third time trying to get our first show out. We
Right.
were actually together the other two times, so it would have been really nice, but maybe in
I
the
know.
future. But
Yes.
something that you said last time is that we all take on roles in life, right? So
Yeah.
we're all kind of acting all day long. Like, I'm not going to be the same person if I'm going to my son's graduation at the church
Right.
as I am in like Were Creatures with you guys.
I hope not. And where I hope you don't go as a werewolf or
I wish I could. I would be so
that would be so funny. Oh my gosh, we have to start
just.
pranking people with makeup.
Oh
That's
my
hysterical.
god. Be so
That's
much fun.
great.
But
Yeah.
I love that, that
Thanks.
you're able to do that because you don't let it handicap you. And that goes back to what I was saying before about being brave. Like you're so brave. And it
Thank you.
really is. I want you to know that because it is going to pay off in the long run,
Yeah.
and you have to really look at the bigger picture and the people that say no are all those people that are naysayers. They're nowhere to be found when the time comes. And so keep doing it the way you're doing it. Keep knocking on doors. And you know what the best thing about you though is that you are good at what you do.
Thank
No,
you.
you are good. Like, I am not somebody that will, like, I listen to music, when I'm teaching all day long. So I'm somebody that will listen to like talk radio and stuff like that. I've always been like that when I get in a car. But I can listen, like, I will stop when I see one of your songs pop up or your feed where you're singing. I will stop and listen. You
Oh,
have that power to just make me stop and go, I want to hear this voice. This is
thank
soul.
that means so much. It really does. Thank you. And same with you. You're brilliant at what you do in all aspects. Like every time I see you dance, I'm like, you're just at such a professional level. And then to be at a similar level with acting, like it's just so crazy to me how you are so good at it all. And you're sending me the Madonna stuff. I'm like, you were just a true
Got me to
100%.
think about that because it was so long ago. Like, it's another
Yeah.
life. I look at that, I'm like, who is that person? But
It's insane that
yeah,
you exude, you're a performer, you're a professional, really wonderful performer, and you just have such a uniqueness to offer. I really mean that. Like, I feel like I've learned so much from you with acting, even with dancing. You've kind of helped me,
that's right.
a
You were in
little.
my
Yeah,
dance class.
no confidence in my dance abilities, but you kind of showed me like
But
I
you
could move.
did it. You did it, and that's the thing. Like, you don't let that fear stop you, and I think that's why I'm so kind of drawn to you in that way, because you don't let something that the unknown stop you. You
Right.
don't let the unknown or the fear stop you. And that goes to one of our topics that we wanted to talk about: stage fright.
Yes, stage fright.
Stage fright could be debilitating because it's a physiological thing that happens in your brain,
Yeah.
and it creates, sweating and tense muscles and face expressions that you can't control, and all of this stuff. And being able to kind of overcome that, because when you're walking up to that door and knocking on that record label, that guy's door, you got
Mhm.
to be nervous, no? Or you just not.
I'm nervous. I'm like, yeah, it gets a little like embarrassing. I don't like the last thing I want to come off as is like the crazy girl who's like, let me into your label. I want to keep my cool, but I still want to be assertive and be like, hey,
Yeah,
is there a way I can get in? So it's like, it's just embarrassing, especially having some security guard who frankly knows nothing about music. It's like he's just a security guard. And I'm
sure.
talking to this poor guy who's like looking at me like I'm a little cuckoo. But like I said, that's why I kind of disconnect. And I guess I do the same thing when I get a little nervous on stage. But honestly, lately, I just enjoy performing so much that I don't even get that much stage fright. But I definitely used to, you know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, I still do. We all get it to some degree. That feeling,
Sure.
you know?
Sure. So what do you think that, like, a good solution to overcoming that would
Oh, yeah.
be?
I feel like, yeah, there are many ways to. I mean, I definitely think in general, what I always try to do with anything is just rethink it. And our minds are like trained to think a certain way. And like you're saying, our body starts to sweat and do this. But if you kind of take a step back and think, okay, why am I scared? Does this really make sense that I'm scared? Because just think like everyone in the audience, like, they're not up on that stage. They wouldn't have the guts to do what you're doing. I like to just kind of think,
Sure.
yeah, like
Absolutely.
I'm a performer, and even if they're not loving what I'm doing, I'm sharing my soul. That's a service for them, and
Yes. I'm so glad that you said that, because that is, I think, the main key. There's lots of things that you can do, visualizing your outcome, uh, talk yourself off the ledge, like you said, but really being there for the audience, and realizing it's not really about you. You're there to give the gift that was given to you. That's how I feel like. I feel like we have gifts, right?
oh
And
yeah,
those gifts, yeah, you're sharing. So when you kind of do it for other people and you be there for them, then it takes it all off, like, me. How am I doing? How am I doing? How am I doing?
right.
And
I
yeah,
know it's like you're kind of like a vessel of like
yes,
transporting the message. You know what I mean? It's
love
less
it.
about me being. That's another thing. I think it's not attaching your self worth to your
Yes,
performance.
for
You know,
sure.
the performance is separate from who you are, you know. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
For
I just
sure.
thought of this. This is kind of off topic, but I'm just curious. When you dance, I know I was talking about how I become a character sometimes to disconnect and feel better. When you dance, do you become a character as well? Do you take it on as like an acting character as you're dancing?
I have done it both ways.
Hmm.
Definitely take on a character. You definitely, the bottom line is, I kind of, first of all, I rehearse everything to death. I mean, I
Yeah,
rehearse everything. I research everything. Even when we did Were Creatures, I never watched a werewolf thing in my life, and I like obsess over it.
yeah,
So when it comes to a performance, I first of all, I emotionally connect, so I don't really have to think so much about that. But I do rehearse everything to death. So you do take on, you do transport into this character, whether it's a theater arts routine. I create a storyline for myself.
hmm,
Throughout whatever dance it is, there's always a storyline in my mind, whether anyone sees it or my partner knows about it. It's there for me. And anything that I do, even when I was teaching, at the school that I met you at, when I had to teach improv and mime, I started doing improv shows.
yeah.
I started doing live
So
stream shows once
yeah,
a month, I think, and then it was even more than that, because I won't do it. I can't. I feel, me personally, I can't give it to you, even though I studied it. I have degrees in it, but I can't give it to you guys unless I experience what it feels like to be in the hot seat.
and it's so beautiful because like that dedication on your end, I feel like changed my life because you were so dedicated to like improv, for example, you were giving us all these like opportunities outside of school, and you really just came in with such this like enthusiastic like let's do it. It wasn't just another class where we were learning a little about it. It was like we turned into an improv troupe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully, we'll get back to that. And I love the reason that actually brought us together, little baby Julia. What brought us together was that idea that you had for drama for disorder, and I wanted to bring that up and talk a little bit about that before we uh, run out of time, because I want that to be a thought that's kind of in the back of your head, because you already have a lot of influence. I don't know how many followers you have, but I know they're in the thousands all over. And you have a platform, and you'll have a bigger and bigger platform. And that was your idea. And you came in so vulnerable in that moment when you did your monologue. And it was just such a great idea. So maybe you could just tell everybody about that wonderful idea.
Thanks. Yeah, definitely. I think something that just to almost connect it to stage fright or anything, like something that just helps me with theater the most is realizing like at the end of the day, theater might be like difficult, music, it performing might be difficult, but it's the one thing that makes me feel better. Like at the end of the day, even if I go on an audition and it's going
For sure.
horribly, me being on that audition and performing, I feel good. And I think I'm sure you can relate a lot of performers
Absolutely.
you just
100%.
feel it's just like therapy to perform.
Yeah.
So, it was scary, but I decided in my senior year that I wanted to really experiment with like mental health and different kinds of disorders that I knew that, like are so prominent in this young generation, especially with social media. There's just so much going on and people are suffering from all angles. So I wanted to kind of play around with how can we mesh that and use performing and use it as in a vessel of expression when it comes to whatever it may be. And I did a monologue on eating disorders, and it was
Yeah.
difficult, but that just goes to show you, it was a group of kids, right? And they were so accepting, and they were so in what in our improv class, and every time I read that monologue, everyone around me, no one judged me, and I think it just goes to show you, like, when you're vulnerable, there's nothing to be afraid of. You know what I mean? Like people will accept that. So it was just a really beautiful thing to have a bunch of teenagers like
For sure.
really with open arms be like, that was awesome, you know? And I felt like I kind of overcame a fear.
Absolutely. I wonder if we could play. I have to find out if we can send them a clip to play either
That
on
would
this or a future show, if that's okay with you.
definitely nice.
It's a long, very heart-filled monologue. Uh, so, or maybe even link. I think we have it up. I
Oh
mean, the
yeah.
sound is echoey like I am right now, but it's still a great performance. And you bared your soul, which is what I think actors and singers and dancers and artists in general have to be able to do, is bare their soul, you
Yeah,
know. So,
totally. Yeah, it's all about that.
well, I think that we have to let you go knock on some more doors now, because we don't want you to be having only fun in LA. We want you to also, you know, get a thicker skin with more rejection, or maybe the big moment.
Who
But
knows?
whoever opens the door for you will be lucky to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. And I'm so excited to continue this show and
Yeah.
continue this journey with everyone and continue to hear all the amazing things you're up to. You know, I think this is truly, truly an awesome collaboration.
Yeah, and if you guys, anybody watching, if you guys want us to discuss anything specific, I think maybe you can put a comment in somewhere, let us know, or DM us or something, and we will cover that next week. We are on every other week, so 2 weeks from today, same time, same station, and we'll see you guys all there.